Hey, it's Joel Markowitz and it's Tony.
And it's Tony Dodge.
We are now live on Facebook. Didn't give any warning, even ourselves, or even you, I guess. So we got a couple of Enneagram questions that have come in and stuff about the Enneagram, not Enneagram questions about the Enneagram, but questions about the Enneagram roadmap program. And so we thought we would go through a couple of these and talk about them. If you're brand new to what we're talking about, we're right now in the middle of the launch or the opening of enrollment for our brand new program we published with Beatrice Chestnut called the Enneagram Roadmap. It's a 22-session program, a deep dive into the Enneagram and all the different 27 subtypes. And it's a great program. We've gotten lots of great feedback this week now that we've opened up enrollment. People are joining the program. And some people are sending in questions about, okay, give us a little more particulars about the program. I've read some stuff, I've watched some videos, but can you just walk through a couple other things? So we're gonna try to get to some of these really quick here.
All right.
And get some of this done.
All right. So the first question is on the frequently asked questions that we've been getting from the community.
We're synthesizing these down to groupings.
All right. So how will the Enneagram help me? And so I think the three major categories that, in particular, the Enneagram roadmap, because it's not just about the 27 subtypes, it's also about using an understanding and awareness of your subtype to do personal development and growth. And I think the number one thing that obviously having a heightened sense of awareness about how you operate and how others operate is in relationships. I'm going to set that up there.
Set that there. So you can set it. So I don't have to hold it for
All right.
Oh, there you go.
So I think the number one thing usually that is the no-brainer is in relationships. And I know that for Joel and I already, understanding our subtype, not just our Enneagram type, but specifically our subtype, has been kind of, in some ways, a bit of a game changer, especially recognizing that you are a 6 social subtype.
Yeah.
Not just a 6, but a 6 social subtype.
Yeah.
And I am a 3 sexual subtype. And this answered for us a major question of why am I so much less social than he is? We're both extroverts. We're both ENPs in the Myers-Briggs system, so we should both be really super duper social, right? And I'm like, hey, let's stay in tonight and sit in bed and watch Netflix. And Joel's like, hey, let's go do something and let's go surrounded by people. Yeah. And when we realized that he was a 6 social subtype, it's like you gave yourself permission to be so much more social than you had ever given yourself permission before.
Well, and I think like I had this experience a couple months ago where we were doing a meetup group in New York City, and we were doing Holly was there, the two of us were there doing this personality hacker meetup around the podcast, and by the end of it, I was like on fire and I was loving life. I remember walking through Times Square afterward with a couple friends and just feeling on top of the world. And it was from when Beatrice came and we were talking, I actually thought I was a sexual subtype. And when we started talking about that, I was like, I started remembering these key points in my life of just how much social dynamics, social things were really resonating with me and got me energized. But actually, what was weird is I was like seeking out opportunities to express that more. I don't know why, but I wasn't looking for opportunities to do that. And now I'm actively looking because of my conversations with Beatrice when she was in the studio shooting. Over dinner every night, we're talking a lot about this. And I was like, you know what? I need to give myself a little bit more permission, a little bit more, active seeking this out in my life. And it's been great. Like I've started to think in terms of like, how can we be doing, how can we do meetups more? How can we be out there more among people because it juices me up so much? And this is really exciting for me. And then it also gave us perspective of why at the end of the meetup, you were tired.
I was exhausted.
You were exhausted at the end of that. And I was wired to like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I was just chatting away, and she's like, "Can you please let me sleep? I'm really tired." Because Antonia, as a sexual subtype, really connects one-on-one with people, and I do too. Like I'm present with people, but she's connecting deeply, and she's really connecting, and that's a very big energy drain for her. So it was a really interesting perspective in us, and then kind of the ways we might be off kilter and how we're engaging with people.
Well, and then I think that awareness also gives us permission to tailor our life around the knowledge of ourselves. So if you need to be going and doing more things like meetups, then I need to be cool with that and not be like, I don't know if I want to go do a meetup tour right now, but recognizing that that's something that, community needs, but also that's something that you need. It helps me give you more space for that, I think.
Yeah.
And then also gives gives me more space for you to understand that at the end of one of those, I'm going to be like a little bit more, I'm going to need a little bit more recovery time. So I think the relationship piece is really huge. Career, I had a major aha around career for me going through the Enneagram roadmap, recognizing that as a 3 sexual subtype, I have a tendency to, 3 sexual subtypes are very different than the other 2 subtypes. I had kind of never quite resonated with 3 descriptions until I recognized the difference between the 3 sexual subtype versus the social and the self-preservation 3s.
Yeah.
And that is, I manage my image very differently. I have a tendency to have 1 degree of separation from my own sense of success. Like I kind of project it onto my spouse or to the people who I'm in an intimate relationship with, or even if it's a temporary intimate relationship. And so I have a tendency to sort of like back off in career elements. And so in the business, I kept like backing off of business decisions and kind of almost like requiring you to do all the business work, and then me just showing up and going like, oh, I'll just support you. I'll just be super supportive of whatever you want. And when I realized I was taking a back seat and sort of had 1 degree of separation away from the value that I could bring and helping with some of the business decisions, I started showing up more and more. And then we realized the role that I have in Personality Hacker, which we started calling Calibrator. And that was something that we had kind of understood before, but I had gotten so buried in my 3 sexual subtype nature of completely resting into successes as being your successes, that I wasn't really engaging with the things that I wanted. And so that was I started showing up more in business meetings. I started like making my voice more heard and more vocal. And I think that it actually really increased and improved our business making decisions as business partners. So I think it was a pretty big one.
And then I think finally, so relationships, obviously Enneagram helps with that, career, and I think your inner world, your self-worth, things about your personal growth journey. Beatrice has this great session where, the Enneagram is not just your type, right? But she's got this great session where she talks about it's almost like the hero's journey in a way. Like it's this journey of growth, and the Enneagram as a wheel, in like a geometric shape, could be looked at as different stages along your growth. Our friend Dan just happened to be looking over my shoulder as I was editing one of the videos we're putting together. He's been staying with us a couple days. And he was like, he watched a couple sections of this. He's like, oh my gosh, I got so much out of just this first session watching this. I'm gonna try to get from him and send an email about it maybe tomorrow about some of the stuff that he learned specifically, because I think it would be really helpful for people to know. But it was stuff around framing up your personal growth journey and all this that he was articulating to us that was really powerful for him. So I think those 3 areas, like relationships, career, and personal growth, or your inner world, I think the Enneagram is really good for those types of things. One of the other questions we got here is, do I need to know all the ins and outs of Myers-Briggs to learn the Enneagram? So, basically, what is the difference here? And do you have to, is this a...
Right, do you have to master one to be able to move on to the other? The answer to that is no. They're totally different, complete systems on their own. And they complement each other. So if you are a Myers-Briggs enthusiast, Enneagram is going to highlight elements that Myers-Briggs doesn't. It shines a light in dark places that the Myers-Briggs system doesn't address, and I would argue vice versa. So if you are an enthusiast of typology systems, the Enneagram, even if you don't have a complete understanding of Myers-Briggs, that's not really relevant to whether or not you're going to be able to have a complete understanding of the Enneagram, especially the subtypes as you go through this program. It's a totally different system, and it's focused on different things. It's focused on fixations and life strategies and over-relying on certain strategies, your passions, the virtues that you have a tendency to want to show up with. And a lot of it is very powerful ego work specifically. So it's totally 2 different systems, and we believe that they complement each other very, very well. So don't worry about not having mastered Myers-Briggs if you are curious to start your Enneagram roadmap journey.
Yeah.
So the next question we had is, how practical is this program? Is it all theory? And the answer is no, it's not all theory. It's quite practical, especially we were just talking about some of the ahas that we got out of the program. a lot of it is not just understanding the theory of the system itself, but there's an entire module in the program that focuses on personal development strategies and tips for each of the 27 subtypes.
Yeah.
And so as you go through them and understand your distinct subtype and how it shows up differently for you, like I mentioned, sexual threes look very different than self-preservation and social threes in a way where I wouldn't have recognized that my lack of self-worth growing up was based on me projecting my value and success through the lens of other people. The self-preservations and socials don't do that, but that's very specific to 3 sexual subtypes. And so having that awareness, that aha, had me show up much, much better in a business context, in a relationship, context, and just in my own personal sense of self-worth. Like I was able to tackle the way that self-worth shows up for 3 sexuals, which is very different than the other subtypes. So I think it has very targeted information based on the 27 types.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we're working with Beatrice, one of the reasons why she's been so attractive for us to partner with in this program is because she hasn't taught this in an academic framework. I mean, she has a lot of the, I guess, all the theory down in a lot of ways, but she's been a psychotherapist. She's used this in her practice. She's coached with this. She's met and coached and done consulting work with CEOs and other vice presidents of companies. Like she's worked having to take, something that could be very ethereal, something that's very high-minded, something that could potentially look very abstract from the outside, and find tangible ways to apply this in business, in personal relationships, in coaching, and all the daily practices she's done with it. And in her personal life. I mean, she's one of the things that I think the type of company that we want to build, the type of movement we want to build, are people that walk the talk of who they, like if they're going to teach something, if they're going to say, hey, this is a path for growth. I mean, we're all not perfect, right? We're all going to have our mistakes and stuff. But having Beatrice here at the studio proved to us that we made the right choice. She's the real deal. She actually lives in congruence with the things she teaches. Mm-hmm. So I think that also speaks to, there's a lot of power when someone teaches from that frame. So I think that's where you get the practical elements on that. What other?
Well, and that actually goes really well into the 4th FAQ, which is, why did you create this course with Beatrice?
Oh yeah.
And that's a really good, I'll just piggyback
that was
off of what you just said. Right. Because she's been doing it for almost 30 years. She's coached C-level executives, VCs, top business leaders. She's a published author. She owns her own company, and it's all around this Enneagram ecosystem, and specifically the subtypes, of which she's effectively known as sort of like the master teacher at this point. So, or at least that's my personal opinion of her, that she's mastered the Enneagram subtypes, and that's her area of expertise. And so when we heard her on podcasts, we were like, hey, if PH was going to do an Enneagram program, we would want it to sound exactly like that, because she taught it in such a way that kind of encompasses the PH ethos, which is down to earth and grounded and practical, and wanting this content to be useful for people's personal development journey. So it was a no-brainer to reach out to Beatrice.
We got some questions about price point, like the tuition, and if the tuition is like, oh, I can't afford that right now, we've just yesterday put out a payment plan. So it's a 3-part payment plan for anyone that the payment plan would help it be more accessible to you. So we really want to be able to get this in as many people's hands as possible. So that payment plan is now available, and it's just on the website with the other full tuition as well. But I think that's going to make it more accessible to a lot of people, because it breaks it down into 3 smaller payments on the tuition side. And
it's not a small program. Like, the tuition is matching the size and the scope of the program, which is over 20 sessions. So if you're somebody who's kind of on the fence, I've got that actually has a question. I'm excited about the course, but I'm on the fence. You can try it out. PH always does a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if it's not for you, and if you start the course and it's not for you, then we always do a 30-day money-back guarantee. And right now, we've got all sorts of things that really encourage people to invest in it in order to take advantage of this, this initial enrollment time period. We have 2 bonuses right now that are really powerful. The first one is that you get a PH course for free, and we've got a catalog of those courses. There's a couple ones that are really popular on there. Intuitive Awakening's on there. Your Personality, the Owner's Manual, Hardwired for Wealth, the Relationship Suite. So
that's just our gift to you for investing during this promotional time for the initial enrollment period.
Right, which ends tomorrow actually. So if you want to take advantage and get a Personality Hacker program as our gift to you for investing in yourself and in the Enneagram roadmap. So that's one of the really cool things and reasons to invest right now. And the second is that we are creating a journal called the Enneagram Travel Guide, which will assist you in making sure you get the most out of the program. There's targeted questions in there, ways to help you dig into not just the content, but how it applies to you specifically and personally. Because the thing is that we're talking about personality types, but you are an individual, unique person. So your personality type is going to show up very individual for you. And the Enneagram Travel Guide will be a way to personalize the content to your context and your individual experience. And so you can get the most out of the information by making sure that it's not just a concept, but it's very much personal to your daily life. And the prompts will help pull that out and really allow you to take advantage of the course.
I know it's super last minute, but just to reiterate that the gift to you, the bonus of a free program ends tomorrow. So if it is something you're interested in doing, it would be a good time to do it now, because I think that's a really great value add. I mean, it's amazing what the value we want to give there, because we really want this to be something that you you appreciate and get a benefit from investing in. So I just want to reiterate that it's tomorrow if you're interested.
Yeah, so if you want to get started, your next step is to enroll right now. We'll send a special link. We'll put the link in the comment area.
I'll edit the description so it's in there.
Okay, so
but it's basically personalityhacker.com/Enneagram roadmap.
Right.
personalityhacker.com/Enneagram roadmap, and then all the information's on that page, and then you could figure out and make the decision to join the program.
Yeah. And our sincere desire is that the Enneagram roadmap will be as powerful for you as it's been for us. Yeah. And we have no reason to believe it won't be. It's just been it's been a game changer program for us, and nobody teaches this better, in my opinion. Nobody does it better than Beatrice. So enroll today, invest in yourself today.
I saw one comment fly through about the actual structure of the program, like whether it was video. It is Beatrice on video. If you've ever had one of our other programs, it's usually a smaller video of the person teaching, and then a larger slide of all the content and the bullet points and the data and the information on that. So it's presented as, I mean, you play it like a video, but it's rich media, and that's the format of how it's consumed. So, Joel Mark Witt and Tony Dodge, we'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Peace.